And we're live. LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. Welcome back. You know where you're at. This is InspireNation. I am Robert Murray. We're with our best friend, Thomas Queter. Thomas Queter, where are you at? Where are you at this week?
I am in Queens, New York, right on Queens Boulevard.
Very nice.
Yep, I came down here to help the petitioning efforts. I tend to be a good voice, a good person to get attention, and that's what it takes to get petitions. And since we need 45,000 minimum signatures that are valid this year, I came down here to be the face. There's a lot of people, big crowds. You get big crowds, you get more signatures, and you have somebody like me who can speak well and draw attention. You end up with more signatures. We got over 100 yesterday at a local street fair.
Right
And
on.
I got over 30 today in less than 2 hours, just outside in front of the hotel between the rain. It's a rainy day.
Yeah, it's a little cloudy here today too, here in Alaska. But so you're packed in there in a Holiday Inn Express in New York doing the thing, getting the signatures. And man, it takes a lot of work to get 100 signatures. You were out probably most of the day. What else did you do this week? Didn't you have a canvas rally?
Yes, we did on Saturday. So I arrived in Queens Saturday afternoon, right before we held our cannabis protest and memorial. The protest was to protest the federal scheduling of cannabis. That we now have legal cannabis in New York, and because it's scheduled federally, the new businesses that are popping up, which we need desperately because our economy is suffering, they don't have access to banks because the banks are afraid because it's federally scheduled, and reliably so, right? They should be afraid because the government will take what's theirs. They also don't get to reap the same tax benefits, tax write-offs that every other business of the same size gets to utilize. So if you're taxed and you can't write off, then the price of your product goes up, and then your patronage goes down because there's still a black market, or what we actually call a gray market. And we see this happening in California. Parts of California are at least discussing reducing the taxes on cannabis so that the legal businesses can compete with the black market. And that's why they call it a gray market. It's legal to have cannabis. It is illegal to sell cannabis unless you're licensed and collecting taxes in California. It is pretty much the same way in New York. A lot of the cannabis businesses that I've talked to, particularly the larger ones that are familiar with multiple states where it's legal, have said things like, it's the most convoluted tax structure I've seen on earth for cannabis in New York. So, we're protesting the federal scheduling because it's a huge economic opportunity for a state that lost over 100,000 small businesses just in the first 6 months of the pandemic. Now, we were also, as a memorial to those whose lives were damaged by cannabis being illegal. A lot of people's first offense would be a possession charge for cannabis, and they go to jail, and maybe they learn how to commit other crimes, or maybe they get a bad attitude because they just got punished for a plant. Why shouldn't I do something more illegal? That's really a mentality that happens. I've seen it, and we need to stop damaging lives and people over a plant. That is wrong, and our government shouldn't be doing things that are wrong. We talk about morality and ethics, and yet here we are punishing our own people for seeking what they already know helps them. I'm a cannabis advocate, and I always advocate that if you're a new cannabis user, if you're looking to try it for the first time, make sure you know what you're getting, where you're getting it from, and don't try the strongest thing you can get first. Start with something light. I particularly recommend that people start with just a CBD and then move to a low THC flower or product and find their own way that way, because everybody is different. What 5 milligrams of THC does to Robert Murray isn't the same as what 5 milligrams of THC does to Tom Queter. Tom Queter can eat a couple 100 milligrams of THC and not feel it, because I've been a medical patient for cannabis for 26 years. Robert, how long have you been smoking cannabis?
I've been actually smoking cannabis since I was in high school, honestly, off and on, probably 16 years old.
Right. So not
And
quite
normally
as long,
for
and probably not quite as heavily, because
no,
you probably weren't fighting the pain of multiple broken bones as I was. When you're a medical patient in particular, you build up your tolerance quickly, and there's two reasons for that. One, you can handle yourself better on the medication. Anybody out there who's taken opiates might have realized at some point the opiates stopped working as strongly, and that's because your body gets used to it. The difference between opiates and cannabis is that when cannabis stops working as strongly, it really just stops getting you so high. It's still the medicine. It's still doing what it should do. It still kills pain, but it doesn't really get you as high. It takes a lot more cannabis to get, quote, high than someone who doesn't use for medicinal reasons for a long time. So building up your tolerance and starting slow, they're both things that are necessary.
So it might be a good time to mention our buddy Dan Berman and throw up his website for a second here.
Absolutely, nuggetknowledge.com.
He's got CBD products and a Delta 8, I believe, and this is legal in certain states. And he's a good friend. And Dan Berman, our buddy, Taxationist Theft Berman, we love him. So check him out, Nugget Knowledge down there.
I was just talking to Dan about an hour ago, actually.
Oh, good.
He's a good friend of mine. We check in on each other.
Yeah, I see him on Clubhouse.
So, the cannabis protest, it went very well. And we had a legitimate moment of silence for the over 500,000 people who were harmed by doing time on Rikers Island for cannabis.
Wow. So you could were you close enough where you could just basically throw a rock and then it's legal here and it's not there, and there's people in jail here, and then
it's not whether or not it's legal. Rikers Island is a prison.
Oh, okay. See, thank you. I learn something every day.
I think it's technically a jail. I'm not sure if it's prison or jail or both. New York City is weird to me as an upstater. I don't understand some of the things they do, and that's okay, right? For libertarians, home rule, things need to be different. Hi, Connie. Then, it's important to recognize not only our own personal mistakes, but the mistakes that our government has made. We have alcohol prohibition to look at what happens when we make something that people want illegal. We have gun prohibition that did the same thing. Whenever you make something illegal, people will still find a way to get it. And when we're talking about drugs, and specifically hard drugs, not cannabis, we need to recognize that throwing someone in a concrete box doesn't help them deal with the issues that led to their drug addiction. You're not going to stop using heroin or crack or cocaine in a concrete box. You might while you're in there, but today, drugs get into the prison system like crazy, often through underpaid COs who are just trying to survive as well. So the matter of fact is that we're just harming people, and it's not doing anything any good. We need to find a better way. We need to try something new. Now, that isn't to say, let's say that someone is addicted to meth and they rob a bunch of cars on the street because of their addiction and they want to, score their drugs. Where's the crime there, Robert? Is it smoking meth or is it stealing?
Well, it's the crime of stealing, of course.
Correct. So then they should be charged with theft. They should be charged with theft and see those crimes But what happens is if drugs are involved, they make every single other crime worse. The sentencing is worse, longer, harsher. And again, that doesn't help them with their drug problem. And so what happens? They keep doing drugs. And they go back and steal again to do their drugs. And then we have situations, I've had peers who have been in and out of jail because of drug problems. And they tell me that drugs are better in jail. If you're a drug addict and your purpose is finding good drugs, do you care about getting arrested and going to jail? Probably not.
Probably not.
Particularly if life is extremely hard on the outside and you're used to the atmosphere of prison or jail. That was another thing a friend of mine told me. He says, it's a lot harder outside. You have to make your own decisions. You have to choose your own path and figure out what to do. Inside, you don't have to think about anything. You don't have to do anything except what you're told when you're told. And that makes it a lot easier because it's regimented.
Man. Well, you guys, we are here at Libertarian Volunteerism. Yes, we're here hanging out. Thomas is on tour. He's in New York right now getting signatures. We got to get 60,000. How many signatures we need, Thomas?
So it's 45,000 minimum for valid signatures. But the way this works, they're going to pay people a lot of money to audit our signatures and try to kick any of them off for any reason they can find. Often those are valid signatures. You can end up in a battle where they get invalidated and then you argue back and then get revalidated. That happens. So the goal is 60,000 for that reason. I'm staying in Queens, right? But I went out to Rikers, which is kind of like the outside of Queens. Because to get to Rikers Island, you have to go over a bridge. Then I went to Astoria for a street fair yesterday. We got over 100 signatures in just a few hours at a street fair. That was amazing.
Excellent.
And if you can tell, I was starting to get a tan. It was a sunny day yesterday. And I don't get a sunburn. I get tan. Now, today, being a rainy day, there wasn't really any place to go or a whole lot to do. So I did some petitioning in between the rain outside the hotel. And I got over 30 signatures in like 90 minutes. It's easy. It's not that difficult to get signatures. You carry your clipboard. You said, hey, would you help me get on the ballot so that I can run for office? Or would you help me get my friend on the ballot so that he can run for office if you're not?
What does that mean? What does that mean, Thomas? If we need all these signatures to get on the ballot, what does that mean? What's going on here?
So New York State requires that registered voters sign your petition so you can be on the ballot, right? And that threshold used to be 15,000 signatures. I'm just going to remove the one that has people's names and addresses on it. But this is it right here. I don't know if you can. Okay, there you go. Now this is important, right? They have to sign by the X and print below. If they do that the other way around, the state will throw out that signature. The address needs to be in the box right next to it. And you see there it is, right there. You see where it says town or city?
Yep.
Except for New
Except
York
in New
City.
York? What the hell?
New York City, it's got to be the borough, which is like a county upstate.
Okay.
It is a county. But in New York City, you use the borough or county, and other places use the town or the city. And so that gets confusing to people. And we actually always tell people that we will fill in the date at the end of the day, because then they don't have to worry about what date it is. You ever see somebody fumble to figure out what date it is? You don't want people doing that. And then, of course, at the bottom, whoever collects the signatures has to sign at the bottom.
Cool. So can people have a sheet of these papers and go out with you and get signatures just like that?
Yes, we have a team that's statewide. we need more petitioners. If you're in New York State and you want to petition, you can petition for us. You can go to thomasqueeter.us, or you can go to lpny.org, and there is a portal for petitioning. I believe Larry Sharp has something on his website that you can utilize to petition. There's an initiative here. If there's two of you in a household or that are friends that want to sign, you can download and print the petition twice and witness each other's signature and mail that in.
Excellent. lpny.org. You want to help petitioning? Yep. thomasqueeter.us at the bottom. You guys can donate. Hit them up there. In the post also is a link to donate specifically for what you're doing right now in Queens.
Yeah, so right now, the state party has money and initiatives invested in petitioning, and every candidate has money, time, and volunteers invested in petitioning. We are all on board for petitioning. And in fact, I just learned that there's about a 50-50 chance that we'll be allowed to use out-of-state petitioners. We are fighting a lawsuit right now, and that means that if you're out of state, say you're in Pennsylvania, Vermont, Connecticut, whatever, you may be allowed to come petition for us.
So that means I could come down and help you petition if I could.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's awesome. I'd love to.
Tomorrow and Thursday, I think, I'm going with our Attorney General candidate, Sean Hayes, to Penn Station, which is in the Manhattan area, and it's very populated. A lot of people walk by, and we'll be petitioning there again. In the afternoons, I'll be back in the Astoria area with our congressional candidate, Jonathan Howe. He's a great guy. He loves cats. He's constantly saving kitties. When we were petitioning yesterday, whenever anybody lived in a certain neighborhood where he knows there's a particular cat who's missing, he described the cat and told them where he lives and to keep an eye out. He's a great guy. He really cares about the kitties.
You can check him out at the Howe 22 there at the bottom.
That's correct. And, we're still fundraising for this trip. So far, we've raised enough for 1 week. Now, if you go to thomasqueeter.us and you click that donate button, you can help me stay here another week. And that way, we can get more signatures. New York City is very populated. It's a big city. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of people to have signed, and we need that. Otherwise, I'll go home and try to arrange everything I can there. But really, there's more people here.
What are we? Who's the guy we're trying to chuck out the window here?
That's Chuck Schumer. He's been in office for about 20 years plus.
Yeah, he's got to go. Thomas Queeter. Let's get him out of there.
Defenestration. So then this coming Saturday is the New York City Cannabis Parade. That'll be in Manhattan. And we're going to have flyers of our cannabis protest and memorial from this past Saturday. We're going to be handing them out while we get petitions.
Cool.
And if we don't get another, I haven't even checked. I don't know how far in we in. But we need another 1,500 to stay in the city another week. Right now, there's matching donors, right? We got 2 donors willing to donate $500 in matching donations. Excellent. The first one we cleared. That $500 matching donation is done. The second one still has about $380 left on it. Guys. $380 right now becomes $760.
Beautiful.
So every dollar gets doubled right now. Now it's time to donate. Make the most of your dollar.
It's costing you over $200 a night to stay in a hotel. So this money is really important, right?
Yep.
Right.
But yeah, that $1,500 is just for the hotel. That doesn't count gas and food. I actually, I'll show you how I live on the road, right? Occasionally, people will buy me a meal, and it'll be a fancy meal. Sean Hayes bought me some excellent salmon. This is how I live on the road.
No, there's your sardines.
I don't go paying for steak and sushi or even pizza. This is a 99-cent can of sardines, and for me, it works as a meal.
There you
I
go, guys.
also have some RX bars. I would show you, but the
Those
phone
good.
is actually sitting on the box of RX bars.
Like mine's sitting on a dictionary, so I understand.
Yep. So I'm not out here spending your money on steak and lobster, right? When I travel, I travel on the cheap, and I spend my own money on these sardines.
Hey, and so also, we love this guy. Let's make sure that we're watching Spike Cohen on TV, Libertarian here. Boom, 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 boom. Ding. What else we got, Thomas?
Well, that's about it for the update, and that's about it for my time. I've got to get working with my comms director. She's here for the evening to help me get some things set up.
Carl says make sure you brush your teeth.
I don't know who Carl is or why he thinks that, but thanks.
Sorry. Carl, I would brush my teeth if I had any, so. Hey, you know what?
I actually have to only use mouthwash. My doctor, because of my condition, my teeth are also brittle. I cannot brush my teeth. I have to use mouthwash only.
Oh, it's because you're eating sardines.
Oh, that's why. Yeah. No, don't worry about that. I carry mints and gum and mouthwash, all 9 yards.
Okay, cool. You guys
Not
are
everybody likes sardines.
Yeah, I love the oysters. I like the smoked oysters. We had talked about this before.
Yep.
Those are definitely a keeper. Every Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern time, you guys, Libertarian Volunteerism with the one and only Thomas Queter. We got to check Schumer out the window, so let's do this. And what do you think, Thomas? Any more shout-outs?
I just want to thank everybody that's been involved with helping my campaign, helping travel me around. And yeah, that's great.
All right. You guys have a wonderful week. We will see you next week. Same time. Donate. Let's get those matching donations for the next 380. We love you, Liberty. Connie, I'll see you on Clubhouse. You guys take care.